Hello everybody, hello angels, I'm Guido from Watch Angels and welcome to this factory review of the Waltham Field and Marine dual time 24 hours. So we have decided to do this review directly from the factory. You know our system, we try to do everything in-house and everything direct with you. That's why we also invited today 4 angels from Switzerland, which participated to the angel sale of Waltham, so helped this project to come alive. So I will do a quick review, and they will also rate the models on different criteria. So the review will be in different parts. So the first one is about why we chose the Field and Marine. The second is about the design, why we designed it the way we did. And then I will go over the specs a little bit and the aesthetics. And then I will show you the available range and also talk about prices. So maybe let's start with why we chose the Field and Marine. So when we sat down the first time with the owner of the Waltham trademark, we had to decide which watch we do. And of course, Waltham did 40 million watches and I don't know how many models over their 100-year history, so it was a very difficult task. And in the end we said, well, you know, if we start this brand, it has to be a significant watch, you know, a different watch, a watch which really has a meaning, a watch which has made a mark in the watch industry. And very soon we realized that this was the Field and Marine. Why? Because arguably it is the first waterproof watch which really worked. It's a watch which made history also because of maybe the sad moment in which it was created, which was, you know, during the First World War. But sometimes humanity creates the biggest innovation when in need. And one of these big innovations was the Waltham Field and Marine. So why? It was a watch which had to resist to the trench warfare of the time, which was a very tough environment. There was water, there was mud, there was dust, and there was mustard gas. So the watch had to be completely watertight. If not, it would just, you know, break, and the movement would break with all these elements. And all the watches of the time were just not up to the task. Until a gentleman called Charles Depollier set his mind to creating the first watch which would resist to this tough environment. And, you know, after many trials, he came up with the technology of the Waltham Field and Marine. So this is the reason why we chose this watch, very important American watch. Then about the design, 2 choices. The first one was to redo the original, one-to-one, like a replica, or to try and do something different. And yeah, we went for the second alternative, doing something different. Firstly, because, you know, there can be only one original. So we really said, okay, let's do this watch like Waltham would have done it today, according to today's standards and aesthetic sensibilities. But of course, keeping the codes of the original Field and Marine there. It's always a very difficult exercise, very difficult, because you risk to go either too much towards the original, being too vintage, or going too modern, and then in one way or another, you lose the link to the original. So and I think this challenge has been overcome because we believe the design carries the codes of the original Field and Marine. Look at the shape, the proportions, the bezel, it's all there, the crown. And then on the dial, we used the same typeface for the numerals, but as you can see, making them smaller and reworking the proportions while being, still having a vintage character, it has become resolutely modern. Maybe you can see also on my wrist, it's vintage, but it's not old. And it's definitely a field and marine. So the movement is a Soprod C115, dual time, 24 hours, with a power reserve indicator. It has a power reserve of 42 hours. So, and on the watch you can see that in terms of the sub-counter. So the sub-counter at 6 o'clock is the 24-hour counter. The counter at 12 o'clock is the power reserve counter. So you also see it written, so it goes from 0 to 42, so 42 hours. It has a date. Because of the movement and the construction, the date sits pretty deep, but it looks nice. There is a small magnifying glass and very pleasing to the eye. In terms of aesthetics, what is interesting is that the crown part really defines the design of this watch. I must say, some people think it's a chronograph until, because of the two crown protectors, until they see the second hand moving, of course, the whole time. Again, here you see the crown system. This was also the technical challenge. So what we tried to do is to update the original patent of Charles Despoliers and also eliminating things which today are irrelevant. So it's a big crown, you can see. It has a big presence. A big presence. It's also what you see when you wear it. It's really the identity of this piece. It has a functional reason because, of course, being a watch which was made for tough conditions, you had to be able to manipulate it easily with cold hands or with gloves, etc., etc. The link, so it's a bayonet system. It's not a screw-in crown, it's a bayonet, which is a construction which is, more than 100 years old, but it's still one of those solid, qualitative constructions which rarely go wrong. Same cannot be said of screw-in crowns because sometimes they block. What is interesting also of this system, you feel it in your hands, it's really solid. You have the feeling you control the crown. You know when it's open, you know when it's closed. It gives you a high sense of security. So the bayonet system, you turn and you pull out. Very simple. You turn and you pull in. There is, you can see, a small brass element here. So that element does two things. It preloads the gasket, so it helps the water resistance when you turn in the crown. And then it has a little pin, and when that pin is on top, so direction 12 o'clock, you know the crown is closed. Now to the different versions. 3 models, 2 stainless steel models, and 1 gunmetal PVD model. Pretty dark gunmetal, it goes towards the black. The first one is white dial, white lacquered dial. So this one is probably the closest to the era, to the 1920s. Personally, I love it. And with black numerals. Very, very strong contrast. The numerals sit very high, it's applied numerals, and you really have a very nice 3D effect. The second model is a navy blue sunray dial, very elegant, deep blue, changes the tone a bit, of course, depending on the angle of the light. I would say this is the more elegant one of the 3, but of course that's subjective. A nice gentleman trench watch. The third one is the most military version. So the black PVD, very thick Cordura technical strap with a beige super Luminova. The Super Luminova is 1 grade, so the strongest. So visibility needs to be perfect. And the effect in the dark is pretty stunning. To the last part, well, the price. So during the public pre-sale, the stainless steel models go for 1,280 Swiss francs, and the PVD model goes for 1,350 Swiss francs. So prices which are only possible because of the direct crowd manufacturing model, meaning that it's a watch which has been developed, marketed, sold only between our 3 entities: the creator, the enthusiast, and the manufacturer. So thank you very much. I hope I've been able to illustrate these watches clearly. Hope to see you during the public pre-sale, which starts April 30th at 9:30 p.m. And we will follow up with our angels who will rate these models. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.